Teatro Vorterix, estamos con Tom, estamos con Josh, los padres de la criatura, the fathers of the creature, en este caso, de Jungle, que van a estar tocando hoy a la noche justamente en este lugar, en el teatro. Es la tercera vez acá en el país y quería preguntarles, para iniciar, bueno, cómo se siente el hecho de estar on tour. How's to be on tour for you?
It's amazing. For us, when you're on tour, it's the best chance that you get to meet your fans and to have a good time on stage. There's a lot of energy on tour. I think when you're in the studio, you can be very much in your own head the whole time. So yeah, when you're out on the road, seeing the world, it's a very positive feeling.
On tour, do you have the time to write something or not? Just playing, just to be on tour?
Yeah, bits and pieces. We always try to write when we're on the road, but it's not the same as being in the studio because, you know, on an aeroplane, it's a little bit noisy. Calm down. Okay, record.
In the hotel, yeah.
Maybe sometimes in the hotel and in studios across the world.
Okay, I want to know what do you expect about this third time here in Argentina, having in mind the two last times?
Well, yeah, we're super excited to be here because, you know, last time we were here it was one of our most memorable gigs because obviously the Argentinian people have such an energy and the energy in South America generally is better than everywhere else. You know, everybody has a passion for music and that shows in the audience.
It's real about the audience. It was memorable, that show?
Last time our sound guy who mixed the show, he came to the front, he came up on stage and he jumped into the crowd. So that was the last time he did that.
That kind of urban legend, no, about the Argentinian audience. It's real.
It is real, it is.
It's real. Guys, what's the point of start of jungle music, of a jungle song? Or there are so many different points.
I think there are a lot. There, like you said, there's 100 different ways a song can start. It can be maybe a phrase that you see or you write down or that comes into your head, or one melody or one drum beat. So for us, I think the most important thing is being in the place to capture the idea as soon as it comes to you. And you know that can take a long time. You can be sitting in the studio for hundreds of hours, and then in 5 minutes, one idea just comes bam, and that's the energy and the beauty of it.
I mean, you can see the evolution of the music of the band or the band in the studio clearly about the sound, the lyrics, the composition. And how do you notice the evolution on stage along the years?
Well, I think what's been really interesting for us is the second album is more emotional. You know, the songs have a starting point in stories of our lives and things that have happened to us, and so I think that then connects with the audience in a stronger way. People have a more emotional reaction. The reactions in the audience are more visceral, and that means that when you're on stage, you just feel even more connected to your audience, and that just gives us the kind of energy to perform the songs in a more kind of positive and strong way.
You have to notice so clearly the change of the sound or the change of the melodies or the music, but about the lyrics, how do you grow up to write on songs? Writing day by day, just practice, just when the song needed?
Yeah, I think for us, you know, we've been writing since we were 10 years old. We met when we were 10 years old, so we've always been, you know, writing music. It was a way to connect with each other and to pass time and to ultimately have fun and express ourselves. So, you know, the more and more you do that, you find out what you like and you find out what makes you feel something, and the more time you spend doing that, the clearer that path is.
What kind of things do you expect about music at that age, and what kind of thing do you expect about music now?
I think when you're younger, you know, we were very much, you know, we liked kind of indie music and we liked, you know, the Strokes and stuff like that. So when you're young, you just tend to copy things. You tend to just get the guitar and you end up writing Last Night 5 times, and then you realize that somebody else has already done that. So as you grow older, you experiment more and you try different things and you develop your own sound, and that's where we are now.
What is work about playing, and what not is work? Is fun? Is just a travel or a free time? But work, what is work for you? Talking about music.
It's really hard to say that anything to do with music for us is work. You know, it's our passion, it's our hobby, it's something that we grew up doing together. You know, some kids grow up skateboarding with their friends, some kids grow up playing soccer. We grew up listening to and making music. So in a way, we're just constantly on holiday, really. You know, doing what we love with my best friend. That's kind of, I could never categorize that as being an effort, really.
And what kind of things are an influence for you that not music, more than music? I mean, books, I mean, theater, I mean, walking life, I mean
everything.
Movies.
Everything from video games to walking down the street. When we were kids, I think what was amazing about music is it gives you memories and it gives you instances in your life. Just taking a journey on a train or on a bus, or when you're cycling and you have music in. It's almost like a constant soundtrack to your life.
I think also video games have been a massive influence, especially when we were younger. Video games were always something that we played together, that we used to escape, and escape even just thinking about life. I think everybody, no matter where you are in life, everybody thinks about things, and the real freedom is when you are free from your own mind of overthinking things and just being present and experiencing things. Music can do that, and video games can do that, films can do that, Netflix can do that.
And talking about Forever, your last record, when you start to work in the next record, do you have to be in mind the last record? Is important the last record you did it or not? The important is the next record. Are you clean the shirt?
I think for us, we're in our heads, we're still trying to make it, and for us, everything always starts at the beginning. We have to prove ourselves to ourselves and to everyone else with each album we do. So we kind of start back at the beginning, and every record is a new journey. You almost have to forget everything you learned before and find new ways to excite yourselves and excite other people.
Is a cycle too a record?
I think the best thing to do is try not to think about it. I think if you try to put it in a box, you end up going nowhere. The journey is very short if you do that. So when we're making music, like Josh said, you've got to try and forget what's happened in the past, and just keep moving forward in a straight line and go, what's exciting me now? What feels new to me now? Whether that has been something that we've done in the past or not, or is something completely new. It's just whatever feels right in that moment.
Guys, in the 90s, England has a great R&B scene for me, like Incognito, Jamiroquai, Mark Morrison, Lynn and David Hall, another artist. And today you have H.A. Tracy, AMTB, Haggis Corns, Lack of Afro, Aaron Gibbons. Do you have that now? England have a scene, or R&B scene, or a black music scene?
I think music has become worldwide again. I think obviously with the internet and Spotify and the way that people take music, we don't have CDs really anymore. They're kind of dying out. Everything is shared via YouTube, so it's like a global scene. And I think that encourages different pockets of different scenes to come together from different cities.
And what kind of things Forever gave you as a retribution? Not musical, another kind of
I think Forever was an album that definitely helped us come to terms with some events that happened in our lives. When you grow up, you come to terms with the negative aspects of life, and so for us, music is something that we can use to teach ourselves about those experiences and to help us move forward and to heal us effectively. We both went through breakups over the course of making that record, and I think that one of the best ways that we could have come to terms with that was by writing that out. I was watching a documentary the other day about music, and a lot of the artists say that for them, music is like a diary. For them to understand what has happened in the day or the weeks that have gone before, to write that, it really gives them a much more clear view of what's happened.
Guys, I guess you must be great fans of all soul records, all funk records like Curtis Mayfield and Solomon Burke and Stevie Wonder. Having in mind that fact, how is to be music in these days, with maybe the romantic idea to get in the studio is in the 70s or in the 60s?
Well, I think the creation of music has evolved greatly, with laptops and people taking the initiative and being able to make music in their bedrooms, in their homes. I suppose Apple has been, instrumental in bringing, software to the masses and the ability to record at home by yourself. That used to be reserved for people who had a record deal and then, being able to go into a studio was like a great privilege. I think now we can put ideas down wherever we are in the world, and that just breeds more and more creativity, which can only be a good thing.
What do you think about this time, like the 60s, when an artist released a single, or just 2 singles, or 1 video, and maybe an album next year, or never happened that? What do you think about that way you release the music today?
I think it's very fluid, and I think that's a good thing. Obviously, the way that the internet works, everything is very high tempo, so the public tends to have a very small attention. But you know, what we did on Forever is we tried to release it slowly and to give people a little bit of a taste of what was going to come with the album, and then we spent a long time touring some of these songs before we even released them, and that gave us a really interesting perspective on them. You know, we would play some of the songs live, and you know, you see where the audience loses focus, and then you go back to the studio and you're okay, so in this section they lost it there. So you know, a lot of the songs have actually been the development of a lot of those songs have been informed by our fans in a way, and that's quite a beautiful thing to see, and also something quite rare today. You know, a lot of artists will release an album and then go on tour rather than make some music, try it live, go back to the studio, then release it a couple of times. So for us it's a very fluid process, and you know, the way that the internet is, you've just got to be reactive to everything.
To be in the studio is over the process of making an album is funny, is torture by times, it's laboratory.
I think you go through a lot of different emotions when you're in the studio. A lot of it, you know, can be fun, it can be hard. It just depends what mind state you're in, and depends how much you attach yourself to it. We try, especially with this new album that we're working on at the moment, to be a lot more carefree. The last album was very emotional for us. You know, it was about love and trying to, you know, depict that in our music, which we hadn't done before. So, you know, we were confronting emotions and trying to get those emotions into the music. So that was a whole new process for us.
Do you have any interest, different music? You are friends, J&T, since early age, sports,
sports,
movies, yachting.
Well, we love. I mean, me
Football.
personally, I love football. I love sport. I think it's weird. Like in a way, not really. Like music is the thing that we bonded over when we were kids, and so whenever we're together, we're trying to play each other new music, or write new music, or listen to old music together that makes us feel nostalgic. I don't know really. We used to try and skateboard, but we weren't very good. So yeah, I think we'll just stick to hanging out and playing music together.
Just be careful playing football for the legs and for your arms. Watching.
Not good.
It's
I got
not
bad
necessary.
shoulder, very bad shoulder.
Okay. Guys, the last question: how's to be on tour and far away from home? I mean, it's not to be on home with your dear friends, with your everyday world.
I think it depends on how many, you know, commitments and relationships you have at home. If you have someone you love at home very dearly, then it can be very difficult to be away from them. But if you're not in a relationship with somebody, then maybe it's a little bit more freeing. So at the moment it's a little hard.
Do you miss the bed? No.
Yeah.
Bueno, extraño un poco la cama. Thank you very much. Bueno, have a good show today.
Gracias.
Charlamos aquí con Tom y con Josh de Jungle. Van a estar tocando esta noche aquí en el Teatro Vorterix y lo viste por musikologia.com.